if you're not willing to overpower them, they'll probably still overpower. Oh, we switched. I don't know if this is going to work out, so I'm going to say, you know, you have a choice to overpower them, and if you don't overpower them or you don't feel comfortable with that, then they'll probably overpower you. So you have a choice in all these things. If you want to attack or defend, or you just want to remain in your truth or wisdom of non-action, no, I don't want to do anything to you or come upon you in any manner, but I don't want you to come upon me either. I respect you, now you must respect me. If you don't wish to respect me, then I must distance myself from you in some way, or I wish for you to distance yourself from me in some way. I don't think that you stay wherever it is I stand. If they've come upon me, then I have made them leave. You know, I have said, no, you gotta go. And what if they don't go, though? I mean, if I'm not strong enough to say you gotta go in a way that they'll go, then they don't go. And then I just have to be like, okay, well, I guess they're not going to go. But that doesn't mean I have to talk to them and we can sit here forever in this weird way or however it is. Maybe I could find comfort, you know, in some kind of a way. I'm not being worried or moved by any of these things. As long as nobody's touching me or saying funny things to me, I don't have to say anything to them or touch them, and I don't have to be bothered by their presence unless I become afraid of their presence or disturbed by their presence in some kind of a way. And in that way, in some way, I'm giving them a power anyway, so it's a really interesting thing. Giving them my focus, I'm paying them my intention. Here, let me give you some more of my intention. Let me pay you more. How many intention dollars do I have for you here? I give you 20 attention dollars. I don't have to do that. I can just do my thing. Okay, that's enough of you. I'm just going to do this over here. Maybe you love them a lot and you find a lot of compassion for them, and so you want to actually speak to them in a way that can help them out. Okay, well, what's happening here? Why are you doing this? Is there something I can do to help you? If you start to help somebody that is trying to do you harm, they are going to have a way different frequency approach them, and you're going to find them in a dense frequency, getting given a really high and powerful, very light frequency. And this is typically very disturbing. One time I prayed. I was just prayed for my food, actually. I didn't pray for the person. I was praying for my food, and the person got so agitated they had to go. You know, they're like, oh, shoot, that's too high a light for me right now. I'm a frequency of vibration and energy. I can't stay around that. That's in a way different way than what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be low density, trying to be really rigid and strong and powerful in this other way. And it does appear strong and powerful in some way. And in a balanced wisdom way, it is very strong and powerful. But when it's in a way of separation, divided in itself, you know, in many moments at one time, past and future, it's not as strong as when it's fully here, whole, now. So just be fully here, whole, now, and find out, you know, that things get shaken loose because they're being caused to resonate to a frequency they don't want to resonate to. And so it becomes very painful when they're holding resistance to change. That's what's happening in the world right now. Look at everything resisting the change. They don't even understand this. Why? It's scary. They don't know where they're going. They don't have any grounding in wisdom. They have grounding in conceptual knowledge, so they're like, oh no, what's happening? It's happening, all these world things, all these physical things, they're all befalling us, oh, there's fires, there's this, there's that. But they don't understand that they're the ones doing this, and they're doing it for their benefit, so it's very scary, very hard. And where are they even going? They don't know unconditional love for all beings, and so it's like, oh no, where am I going to? I don't know what oneness is. I think oneness doesn't exist. How could I be going to oneness? And so it's a very important thing for anybody who does understand things from a place of true experience to spread this knowledge. And for those that don't understand this and have only conceptualized this, to be honest with themselves, impeccable with themselves. You don't have to be impeccable with me, I suppose. If you're not feeling courageous enough to be authentic, that's fine. But it'd be good for you to do it with yourself and start to learn from people that have done this in themselves and start to walk the path of having your own realization, your own understanding, so you're never shaken at any turn of the wave that happens to come by, you know. Then you don't have to defend your truth or close off or be silent when somebody comes up to you. You can be more compassionate because you have a place that you firmly hold, a true understanding. You can be much more specific with them. Oh, okay, well, this is what's occurring right now, okay. Oh, yes, I've experienced this myself, actually. I remember when I was, you know, accosted by anger and feelings of this way, and here's an experience directly from my life path, because I grew from the muck into a thing of beauty, the lotus, you know, and so Let me tell you of my muck I'm no longer ashamed of telling you about. I'm no longer embarrassed. I don't hold this as me anymore. This is a part of the story, an experience that was perfection. And so I can bring this to you in any way that you may need for your reflection, for you could understand, so that you could understand what is what is occurring here for you now, if possible. You can't hold on to how they receive it. Typically though, even though you don't see it being received very well originally, they eventually do learn whatever it is. When it comes from a true place of heart, it bears very beautiful fruit. And a lot of times I didn't think that, I was wondering, if things were very helpful for people. And many years later down the line, it turns out that they were very helpful. And they weren't confident enough to tell me that they were helpful in the moment. Which I sometimes am like, oh, dears, if you all would have told me. But if they only would have told me, I wouldn't be here now speaking with you exactly as I am. And so it's good that they didn't, because, maybe I would become attached to the confidence they gave me. Like, oh, wow, is anybody else going to tell me how good I am today, or am I not good today or something, But because, nobody really did, I have to tell myself that. And so I'm like, okay, well, can't rely on anybody else to do it. I better, well, Ryan, you're doing a good job, my brother. Rigsaw, you got this, my friend, I told myself a story in my head like I was a child yesterday. It was really beautiful. Let me tell you a story of a boy named Ryan. He's very beautiful and all these things. It was so gorgeous to tell myself this story. And he lived happily ever after. It was getting everything he ever wanted, freeing all of consciousness in every way, all beings becoming awakened and realizing the trueness of his limitless self. Oh, it's so amazing. Oh. It was sweet. I spoke to myself like I was a child. It was so gorgeous. And so I'm very happy that I was able to do that. And yeah, it gave me a lot of peace, actually, to speak these things to myself. Hey, man, I decided, there's nobody coming to me. I prayed for somebody to come and talk to me, and I was like, oh, well, there's nobody, apparently. I'm the only guy who understands my point of experience. I wanted somebody exactly where I'm at. Well, I guess that somebody's me. I'm exactly where I'm at. Who else knows my experience better than me? I guess I'll talk to me and tell myself some sweet things, and I can do that. I do know that. I do know wisdom. I have been brought into this. I have had true realization, so it's beautiful. And now I'm here to share this realization with you because I love you, because we are one in everything, and I see that there's a necessity for this in the world, and I wish to carry on these teachings and this wisdom that they don't die with me. And I want to do this on the phone here because, I mean, people write things down all the time. Writing things down is pretty cool. I like writing things down. I'm not saying it's bad, what's bad about writing things down? But I do wonder if writing it down takes away the context of how it was spoken. They tell us the words of Jesus and they tell us the words of the Buddha, but you don't ever get to see how these guys were. Well, we imagine that he was speaking in this very proper way. Look at him. And so, the word is this. And if you listen to me clearly and gently, you will see that all that I have to say is full of shade. Just kidding. Oh, that was too much. But what I'm trying to say is that how people say things truly, I think, will be very much more helpful. So you see me, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing all these different things, whatever it is. This is a much more calmer transmission than maybe something previous. But then we get to see the entire process of the past with our eyes. Like, look at this guy. We're reading the language of no words while hearing his words through his motivations, his actions, his expression entirely, the look on his face. Is he a very proper man? Is he someone that sits there in a certain manner? Should I then sit there in a certain manner? Does he meditate? What does this man do? What does he look like when he speaks? Does he speak like me? Is he strangely expressive? Is he regularly expressive? What is it exactly that this man is doing? And so, you got to work through all these different things and find out for yourself exactly how things are going. And what is that going to be like? Well, now, I don't really know what it might be like, but I gotta tell you, it could be about anything. Anything at all. So, I would really like to bring what I like to think of as your teaching from consciousness exactly as it comes through. If I could get a whole picture shot of my body while I do this, that would be a little bit better in showing you the motions of the moment. The motions of the ocean. The oceans of the movements. Whatever it happens to be. And so, it's a really amazing thing. All of these things that are occurring. Wow, look at that. I'm talking like this again. I didn't know where I was going to go. I could go here. I could go there. I could go just about, I guess, anywhere. Not really holding to a single shape or a single form, a certain way of speaking, a certain tone. But, you know, maybe I like to hold a tone. I don't know. So we were talking again about patience. And many other things since then. The perfection. All of these beautiful things. This is the third video now. And it's only been an hour and 17 minutes. Not too long. You know, I could stay with you for the entire day, no problem. It's pretty easy for me. I don't really have any other focuses in life. This is really all I want to be doing. Is sharing these teachings. So, you know, I'm super dedicated to helping anybody who's able to listen. And even those that seem to not be able to listen, I'm still typically there for them too. I do sometimes get a little frustrated and tired, and I'm like, you know, I don't think this is beneficial. Oh, you're not listening to me. Let me tell you much more directly, loudly. You know, we're learning. You know, I'm not saying any of that stuff is wrong. Sometimes we got to speak to people in whichever way is the most authentic possible, especially if they give you a key code like, I'm just being real and authentic with you. Oh, are you now? Okay, God, I'm listening. Okay, consciousness, I hear you. You want me to not be so soft and polite right here. You want me to not be so gentle and fake. That's what you want? Alright, I won't be then. I'm going to say exactly what I think, exactly how I feel. I'm not going to hold a single thing back from you, because who knows if our now moments ever align again. And who the heck else is going to give you this information? Well, in a world full of liars, it's going to be tough to find it in any possible way. So, I guess I'm the one. Let me tell you this. You motherfucker. Oh, shit, damn. Typically, I wouldn't say motherfucker. But I could. And that would be alright. I would definitely observe that and possibly judge that. Who knows? Or maybe it would be so much in the flow to where I could see it was utter perfection and I wasn't doing it at all. And I'd be like, yeah! I'd feel empowered somehow after it. And maybe they wouldn't feel so empowered. But what part of them is it that doesn't feel very empowered from this? Not their true self, I'll tell you that. When I'm around somebody who's real and authentic and completely themselves, it's a rarity that I'm able to disturb them in any way, shape, or form. It turns out that we just bounce off one another, saying whatever kind of crazy thing that's possibly there, and we're just laughing and having a great time. My buddy Nick came up to me, and he realized I was frustrated about something the other day. He was like, whoa, that was a long one. He realized how long I held onto that channel. You know, I was like, oh, and I realized that too, because I'm real clear. And so we're both very clear. And so what did he do to help me with it? He shouted. He was angry. And then I got to be angry at the same time. And we did it together, and then every time we had it was just laughing. It was great. It was an awesome energy. He had to break away, though. He's kind of tired of doing it, but that's all right. Hey, man. Shit's fun. Especially when you're not attached to it. Like, you're not judging yourself or whatever energy it is. Now it's just energy passing through it. It's just expressing however it is. Kind of like when you watch a movie. You ever watch a movie? Like, sometimes when you, like, build up certain judgments in life, you can't watch movies that you used to like. And you're like, man, I used to love those kinds of movies, but not anymore. Those movies are wrong. Hey, that's cool, man. I still like Spartan Warfare. Raw! I don't know, though. I mean, I typically don't watch that stuff. I watched a movie the other day called Power. It was something, Get the Power, or, I don't know. There's a lot of death inside of it. But I love that movie, actually. It was a great message. All kinds of really cool stuff were going on, and didn't really disturb me at all. I wonder if it would have disturbed me if I was, like, judging myself for watching it in some way. Like, oh, they're doing wrong in this movie. This is happening. And, I mean, it was a superhero kind of superpower movie in some kind of a way. I mean, righteousness versus evil. But it wasn't really righteousness versus evil. It was just somebody was trying to do something that, somebody else thought wasn't very good because it was harming people. And so they were trying to stop it and all these things. But it didn't seem like there was a lot of hate for the individuals particularly. Just really the actions, the sin that was being committed, if you wanted to call it that. The obscuration. I mean, it seems like there was a lot of space and opportunity for, the bad guys to grow if they wanted to. In some sense, I mean, it did seem also very ruthless, but kind of unconnected to emotion. Just a means to an end, who knows? I don't know. I loved the movie, though. I thought it was really great. But I do remember thinking to myself in the past, when I first watched a movie after I'd been in Surrender to Flow for so long, and I was like, oh no, I have really screwed up. I looked at the people in the theater, and I was like, yeah, man, they are a low density of consciousness. This movie is a low density of consciousness. This whole thing is a low density of consciousness. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing. This was obviously a mistake. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. I was feeling really down on myself, and so I was like projecting it on everything else I saw around in the mirror of consciousness. I was like, you guys too, all of these things. I made a mistake. Why did I do this? Oh, I ruined everything. And here I am today, still in perfection, over a year after that now. And I've watched many movies since then, actually. I mean, not as many as what some people may be watching movies, but every movie I've watched, I thought was like, some movies I've watched, I've been like, gosh, that put me in quite the strange feeling, like, that was kind of dark. So typically I like to watch things that have a really good message and feel really good and aren't really in a particular realm of reality because it kind of does sometimes make me, leave me feeling heavy. But I can still see the perfection and the teaching and the expression within it. There's this gang thing on the TV about gangs in other countries the other day, and it was incredibly heavy. And apparently some of the guys in there were like gang style, and a friend had just died the other day, and it was really sad. And so the whole morning was very heavy that morning. I was over there with them because their friend had died, and I was across the street living in a van, and when the cops showed up, and one of my friends lived there, and so I was like, oh shoot, what am I going to do, And then all this heavy conversation and these heavy reflections. But hey, sometimes the world's heavy, and that's a reality that's occurring, and it's good to be able to relate with that, to understand that, to experience that, to empathize with that, to be able to relate with that in some kind of a manner that we can bring, through bravery, consciousness, the light of consciousness into all the dark places that maybe haven't received the teachings yet, or in more of a confused state than we've reached ourselves. Sometimes we get to a place and we forget where we came from, like, oh shoot, that's right, I lived on the streets for a long time. Oh, that's right, there's dangerous people out there that don't understand these things that I'm talking about. And they surely would love talking about, but they have no frame of reference. And so how do I bravely, bring these points of consciousness to these amazing beings? What do I do? How do I reach these people, I know how to reach these people and these people and these people. But what about these particular people? How do I do it in a way that they'll understand? Well, obviously, the most authentic possible way possible, I mean, exactly as it comes for everybody else is the same way it could come for anybody. Now, if you have a way to relate with their story, through hearing them, through understanding them in some kind of a manner, it'll be easier for them to understand you. And if you're unwilling to listen to their story or hear where they're coming from or understand the path that they've walked, it's most likely that it's going to be very hard to reach those people because they're not going to be able to do it with you either. But if you can hear them, you actually do have a higher point of understanding and consciousness, and then you're able to relate their own story to these different teachings that have come to you and yours, because whatever truth, if you've reached the truest truth, it relates to everything completely. Any book that you read, anything at all, fiction, non, it doesn't matter. It all relates. No matter what religion you're looking at, no matter what person's story you're looking at, you can relate what is universal truth to every being always, no matter what. It's easy, and of course it can be very difficult if we don't feel courageous, if we feel, that it's not going to be accepted, and so we're afraid, it's going to be hard then. But if we don't, surrender to those energies, and we do allow this to happen in some kind of a way, and we just trust the flow of authenticity coming through, the now moment, bringing itself in exactly the way that it should, then we're good to go. I mean, it took me, half the day, and then walking around feeling really messed up about it, thinking about it, determining, contemplating it, to finally understand, why all that had happened. I was like pretty much giving up on it, about to go to a forest, when I decided, you know what, I'm going to stop by at my friends, and I'm going to take them where I said I was going to take them, and then I realized then, okay, all of this happened to give context to this drive, so that I could speak to him on this level and communicate with him in this way and transcend this fearful part of myself that was afraid to relate with this part of myself who does need me to relate with it. And that's a really beautiful thing. And so eventually, we're all going to be able to see how all the different aspects of our life have lined up for all the aspects of the rest of our life and all the different experiences we're going to have through the rest of this cycle, whether be it that we die and are reborn, or reach nirvana or heaven, or however it is that we see, or we stay inside the realms of samsara forever, or whatever it is, Maybe we're liberated and we never have to die, who knows? I'm pretty positive myself that we're all within a time that I like to coin to be called the Great Awakening. And I don't have to coin it. I mean, somebody else might be saying that too. I can't be saying that for sure. But, yeah, it's the time of the great revealing, the revealing of all the truth, all of the mysteries coming to be solved, that we all come into the true limitless expression of our being. And that's what's happening right now. It's like a giant worldwide ayahuasca ceremony where, a lot of people are resisting the medicine and feeling a lot of pain and frustration. But hey, man, if they just accept that stuff, of course it's going to be hard because they don't have the information, and so they're not seeing visuals and having, Aya with them saying, all right, baby, don't you worry, I got you, They're, they're having a lot of people, shining a lot of resistant energies, one at the other. Not a lot of people out there feeling willing to spread the truth and really understand and have compassion and be like, hey, bro, don't worry about it. Let me tell you what's going on, And not a lot of people really willing to accept what's going on either. And so that's another big thing. Wow. Let's look my windows down. Huh. Can't say that it is or if it isn't. Yeah, it is. Cool. Awesome. Not a problem. I don't mind. Take whatever you want. Don't matter. It's not mine anyway. It's ours. Everything's ours. I don't need anything. I got everything I need. All the time. Things are pleasures and comforts. But hey, don't need them. I always have what I need no matter what it is. Show me what I need. What do I need? I am all that I need. Oh, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Pretty good stuff. Man, my neck's really hurting right now, I gotta tell you. Ugh. I'm trying to figure out a way that I could do this that would be easier for me. I gotta get a mount for my phone or something so I can prop it up somewhere so I don't have to have this issue of hurting my neck or anything. Sometimes when I look to the left or to the right for too long, and it creates a kink in my neck, and I'm kind of used to looking to the left for some reason. Looking to the right's fine, I guess. But for some reason I just don't do that as often. Maybe because my neck hurts. Even though my neck hurts, looking this way still feels better to look that way. Maybe I'm imbalanced in my muscle structure or something. If they're looking that way too much. Who knows? But either way it'd be perfect, so I say too much. Or it's a teaching. If I notice that and I learn from that, it's a wisdom, not a mistake in any way. And eventually, no matter how many times we've not been able to see the wisdom of whatever it is we call our mistakes, they will become our wisdom. Wow, this is cool. So yeah, it's gone to all kinds of different places. Not exactly where I thought that it would go, but that's alright. There's a lot to be shared. And it seems like it's going to be so many hours of video. I mean, so many hours of video. Just endlessly streams. And we've only talked about patience and other things. We haven't really talked about any of the experiences. Who knows if we will? I can't say. I mean, it seems like that's what needs to happen. I mean, the experience is everything, the whole of life, everything entirely. Not just my life, but your life. You know, if you can see all of your life eventually from a panoramic view or a 360 degree. You know, if you could just, whoa, I see the whole of my life now explained in a linear or logical fashion. I see how everything lined up really perfectly and led me to this point of understanding that without anything happening as it did, I could not be here in this moment to realize the fullness of my limitless being. The perfection of all that is. I would never be able to love myself without all of those things that happened to this day. If they were changed in any way, shape or form. Yeah. Ooh, my neck. Alright. I want to look at you like this now. Yeah. Wild ride. That was a funny face, alright. What else do we have to say right now in this moment? I mean, I was like, man, I could go all day. And then it's like, maybe I can, man. Maybe I got to do other things today. You know, let's see, how many videos have we done so far? 3 videos. You know, we still got some more time before we finish this 33-minute segment. And I do like the 33-minute segments too. I think it's pretty cool. You know, 33, 22 the whole time. 2 master numbers. I don't know, it's just the way the SIM card records. It's pretty cool. I got to upload these to YouTube, which luckily I have a bomb plan that gives me unlimited data, high speed the whole time, and so I can upload literally over 100 gigs of data a month, no problem. You know, maybe I'll upload over 200 gigs this time, who knows. It never slows it down though, pretty curiously. Pretty awesome. Yeah. Only $50 a month too. Just letting you know, Family Mobile, Walmart. They use T-Mobile providers. And maybe some other tower systems, I can't tell for sure. Kind of the cool thing about being like a third-party thing, using other monitoring systems on the towers, is you can probably hook up to more than just one monitoring system, but you have to have some kind of a contract with multiple ones. So if any one of them decided to have contract with this one, that one, and the other one, they would literally have the greatest span of service. You know, maybe they all just hook together into one thing, but you know, we got a lot of competition going on. Not to say, you know, a lot of people want those waves going out in the world. They haven't seemed to affect me in any manner, though. I don't know. It seems to affect other people in a pretty big way. They're pretty sensitive to smells, sounds, all kinds of different stuff. I'm not as affected by those things personally. Can't figure out quite why. Maybe judgment, some kind of thought pattern. Kind of like a phobia, you know. Some people are afraid of beans. As it turns out, they have bean phobia. So when they see beans, they actually get sick and afraid, all kinds of different things. And you know, that never happens to me, but I don't have the phobia. And I have to wonder if, you know, that's the same for, you know, all kinds of different people, all kinds of different responses and reactions that they may be having in life. There's like, they have slight phobias to smells or to sounds or to frequencies or whatever it is. And so when they notice that it's there is when it starts to bother them. But before they notice that it's there, it doesn't really bother them. Like a child looking at a cut. They don't realize, you know, that it's bad until they look at it and they're like, oh, it hurts, you know. But before they noticed it, it might not have hurt at all. Who knows? You know, or maybe it did, you know. Typically, if you notice yourself getting cut, that's a form of noticing it, even if you don't have to look at it, though, you know. I remember it happened to myself to where one time I hadn't even known I got cut, but I was crying. It was really interesting. I was like, I don't even know why I'm crying right now. I was actually faking being hurt, but it turns out I had fallen I'd been pushed into the water on top of oyster shells, and it cut my foot real bad. And I didn't realize it had cut my foot. I was just trying to mess with the other kids, and so I like came out of the water. I didn't feel anything because I was in the water, and I fell down on the ground, and then just to collapse and act like I had been hurt somehow, you know. I was worried about the crabs I was fighting that I was trying to net, actually. I'm so glad I didn't step on them. Because I was afraid they would pinch me. I was going to eat them. I mean, I wasn't afraid of hurting them, that's for sure. I was afraid of them hurting me. But yeah, so I stepped out of the water, I fell on the ground, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm looking at all the kids, and they look real freaked out, like something's really happened to me. I'm like, wow, I'm a stupendous actor, I guess. And I start crying for some reason. I don't really know why I'm crying. Look back at these kids that are on the bridge, you know, some other kids that are part of our group, and they look really worried. They go running back towards the adults, and I'm like, oh, well, that's really peculiar. And I'm crying, and I'm like, what the fuck am I crying for? What's going on here? You know, I had no idea. And finally, you know, the group of adults comes running. I'm like, really wondering, like, shoot, what's happened to me here? You know, what's the problem? Glad that I collapsed like that, though, and I kept walking. I probably would have got all kinds of things inside of it. They would have had to scrape it out, but instead I fell, and my feet were on the, you know, top of my feet, so my feet were sticking straight up, and so I didn't get anything inside those cuts, I guess. And yeah, the adults come over, and they pick me up and start to carry me away, and then I can see my foot. I'm like, whoa, there's a bunch of blood coming out of that foot. I used to tell people, I almost went all the way through my foot. I mean, I don't think that's really true. I mean, it went pretty good inside of it, though, that's for sure. I don't know how deep it went inside of it. The parents carried me over and, you know, cleaned it up, and it hurt like hell at that point. You know, by the time I noticed what was happening, then it really started to hurt, man. I was like, ah, what the fuck, you know. You know, without the swear words, I would have been really punished if I would have sworn, even if I was hurt, you know. And, so yeah, but, you know, they dried it up, they put some butterfly band-aids on it, wrapped it in some gauze. I was playing hide and go seek by the end of the night, but, geez, it did hurt quite a bit, you know. I kind of needed to go to bed early. It was throbbing pretty hard, so. Not too bad, you know. But that's an interesting thing about, you know, sight in relation to that, and then building judgment, and then having this phobia that occurs that creates things to be much worse than they really are. Reminds me of the Buddha. I like to think of the Buddha walking through a war zone, bombs dropping down around him. He's just at utter peace, as if nothing's happening. People are looking at the Buddha like, what's up with this guy? He's shining, glowing light. He's like, just bombs falling next to him. Boom. Just, yes. So nice. Beautiful day out here. Perfect peace, perfect peace. People are dying all around him. He's just da, 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 as if nothing's happening. Like he's walking through a field of flowers or something. They're like, oh my goodness. People are like, what's up with this guy? And nothing's hurting him either. He's just walking through the war zone, bullets flying past his head. He has no idea it's occurring, or acts like he has no idea it's occurring because he's not attached to it in any way, shape, or form. Maybe he gets hit, doesn't matter. He's like, whatever. He's like, utter peace, man, utter peace, whatever. I'm an enlightened being. I am all it is. It's all play of my mind, he says. It's amazing. And so, yeah.